In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to keep your EAFC 24 career mode fun. So if you frequently get bored of your career mode saves, then this is the video for you. Okay, so this first one applies to when you're making a new career mode, but basically it's about choosing the right team for your career mode. If you choose a team like Arsenal or Manchester City, then you're probably not going to play the career mode for that long. I mean, maybe if you're a fan of one of these clubs, then maybe you should, but otherwise I don't recommend it. Manchester City have £240 million as a budget, and they already have the best team in the game. What can you actually improve? So it's very easy, you're probably going to win the league in the first season even if you change nothing anyway, so there's not really much point of doing a career mode of them. Instead you want to choose a team that has a bit more of a challenge, you know, maybe someone like Luton, or you can make it even harder and choose a championship club and get them up to the Premier League. Okay, so the next way to make your career mode more fun is to do realistic transfers. This applies to transfers both in and out of your club. So for example, I'm using Brighton in this career mode here, and in real life they generally sell their players for a lot of money to big clubs. But let's say in this career mode, the Manchester City offered to buy Matoma, then I think you should accept the deal, because in real life that's what would happen. And obviously realistically, even if you have a lot of money, Brighton aren't going to go out there and buy Mbappe, so make some realistic transfers instead. Another example of how you can make your transfers realistic is not buying from rival clubs, because generally this doesn't happen. So for example, if you're in a Manchester United career mode, don't buy a player from Manchester City. Okay, so this next one is mostly down to personal preference. However, I recommend that you play at least some of your games in your career mode to keep it more fun. Because otherwise, if you're simming entire seasons then you don't really engage with the career mode, that's fine if you're just doing a rebuild, but if you want this to last quite a few weeks or months, then I recommend playing. Because if you're just simming all the games, simming all the seasons, and only playing the transfer windows, then you can quickly end up like 7 seasons into your career mode, and at that point you're probably bored of it. At the end of the day, EAFC is meant to be a football game where you actually play matches, so that's the most important part of the game. You don't have to play all of the games, but I recommend playing at least some of them, it's fun. However, if you are going to play a lot of your games, make sure your difficulty settings are set to the right level, because if it's too hard, then your team's going to perform badly and you're probably going to end up getting sacked. If it's too easy, then you win the league in your first season. Okay, so the next one is to make sure you're using some of the features added to EAFC career mode. So for example, you've got the tactical vision here, which allows you to customize how your team plays. You can either set it to standard, or there's wing play, which means you use your wingers more. This might be suited to your team better, but make sure you choose one that's suited to your team and your play style. There's also tiki-taka, Gingham pressing, park the bus, and counter-attack and kick and rush. So choose one of these that suits your playstyle and your players best, and it makes it more interesting and allows you to customize your game more, and you can switch it around once in a while, and it basically keeps the game a bit more fresh and fun. Now the other thing to consider here is coaches. Now what you can do is you can hire coaches. It costs a bit of money. It costs part of your weekly wage, but if you're a club with a decent amount of money like Brighton, it's fine. Basically, the better the coach is, the more money they'll cost. The ratings are given for attack, midfield, defence and goalkeeper. So say if we find a coach here who's good at attack, okay at midfield and terrible at defence and goalkeeper, we're going to assign him to attack. And this makes sure your attacking players grow faster, and you can assign one to each position or multiple to each position. And the last thing is making sure you set up a youth academy in your EAFC career mode. Now sometimes I didn't used to do this, and I always regretted it later on, because after a few years, if you don't have a youth academy, it becomes really hard to find good young players, because all the good young real players are too old to be young anymore, and they're all really expensive. So you've got to start using youth players, and if you don't have an academy, it's really hard to get any of them. So recently I've started using youth academies, and it makes the career mode a lot better a few years in. So what you need to do is obviously just go on your youth academy and check the players you've got. You can release the ones that aren't that good, like this one, but you want to keep around the players that might have some potential. Anyway, what you need to do after that is set up some youth scouts. So go on transfers and then go on youth staff. You should have a coach there already, and you can hire more on this menu here. But what you do is go on your scout, set up a scouting network, then choose a country. So I'm going to use England for this example. Doesn't really matter too much, but if you want it to be realistic, I guess use the country you're in or countries nearby. I'm starting with England though. Then you can set it to either 3, 6 or 9 months. This will vary the cost. I'm going to set it to 9 months. And then every month you'll get a scout report from your scout, and it will show you some youth players they've found, and you can sign the ones that have high potential and high ratings. Okay, so after our first month we've got a few players in our scout report. Now out of these players, the only one worth really considering here is this player. Got a pretty low overall potentially, but he might have high potential, so let's sign him. And yeah, his overall's 57, which isn't the best, but it's alright, and it can definitely grow a lot. So yeah, sign the players with a decent overall and high potential. Anyway, if you did enjoy this video, then make sure to subscribe, and if you want to find some of the best young strikers you can sign in your EAFC 24 career mode, click the end screen here, and I'll see you guys in the next one.